my background is theater. I went to school for theater. I was an actor, professional actor, and I just went to one too many auditions where I had to go in and be a crying mother whose son had been killed, and I was like, I feel like I could write better than this. So I started writing plays. Actually, I just started off writing plays, then started producing my own plays, and they did fairly well. But then I started to be quite disappointed with theater in Toronto, which is where I live, and decided that maybe I needed to pivot out of theater and try my hand at TV, because I'd been told that I probably would be really good at TV writing because I had so many ideas. So I was recovering from eye surgery and was not allowed to leave my house and had to lay face down for 3 weeks. And so use that time to basically give myself a sabbatical and think about TV ideas, like what would work. But before I had the surgery, I had read an article in the Globe and Mail, or no, sorry, it was the Toronto Star, with Floyd Kane, who was starting Digstown. And he was saying that, it was really difficult finding Black female writers for his writer's room. And so I contacted my agent and asked my agent to contact his agent and ask him if he would be willing to sit down and talk to me about writing and how to get those jobs in writers' rooms. So he met with me at a Starbucks on the Danforth, and he was very, very generous. And we talked for an hour and a half, and he explained, how he got into it. He was a lawyer, entertainment lawyer, but he also had ideas. And then he gave me some pilots that I should watch and gave me some books that I should read, and said, let me know in 6 months what you're up to. Let me know if you finished anything, send it to me. So things didn't quite work out that way because my surgery, I ended up having to recover a lot longer than I thought. I did end up writing something in September and sending it to my TV agent, who I was signed with in 2019, in I think October. And then I ended up writing another 1 hour sample and sent it to my agent. I tried to get in touch with Floyd, but Floyd was busy. He was really busy, and he wasn't able to, I think what I did was I wrote him and I said, okay, so I have the pilot. And he was like, that's great. Write another one. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did. But I recognized that he was busy, and that was fine. So my agent was like, you're very good at writing TV pilots, even though you've never done it before. I think you should maybe go to the CFC and learn structure. And I was like, well, I don't have time or money to go to the CFC and learn structure. So I'll see what I can do. And then I met with another friend who gave me an opportunity to try a different type of writing. And they suggested I write a half-hour comedy because they thought I was quite funny. So I decided I would try to do that. And while I was doing that, I was running out of money. I was like rapidly becoming broker and broker. I had a part-time job working in a small office, and I hadn't paid my taxes in a couple of years. And I got a phone call from the CRA, and the person on the other end of the line was not warm or friendly, and basically was like, you don't make a lot of money doing what you're doing as this office person. You should get a better job. You live in Toronto, you have better opportunities. And I'm like, well, I'm a writer, and so I'm like gonna take these little jobs until my big break. And he was like, well, basically, if you he basically said, if your break hasn't happened yet, probably not going to happen. Like, this guy was a jerk. And I tried to explain that, I knew that writing was my career, and maybe, him working at the CRA was his career. And he got very defensive and was like, I was a ballet dancer, and you don't need to tell me about passion. I understand passion. This isn't my career. This is a job. And I was like, okay, well, I was just trying to relate to you. And he wanted me to pay up what I owed the CRA as quickly as possible. And I was like, I don't have any money. And then I realized what I had to do was drain my RRSPs to pay it off. So I made a trip to the bank to talk to them about it. And I'm sitting in this office talking about how, well, I've been a writer and I'm an actor, and I don't understand why I'm not making it yet. I've been doing so well and in playwriting. And I remember almost crying in this guy's office, and he was like, okay, I'll be right back. He was like, I'll figure out what we can do about your RRSPs, blah, blah, blah. He walks out of the room. my phone goes ding. I check my phone, and it's a message from Wendy Brathwaite, who's otherwise known as Motion. She and I had worked in theater for years, and now she was working on Coroner. And she said, hey, a TV show that does paranormal stuff, like it's like there's a ghost in my closet, that kind of stuff. They're looking for somebody to write on that. And I know that you've become really interested in horror movies lately. So I thought maybe you would be able to, fill the bill. And I was like, wow, it's that easy. I mean, it's not that easy, but she just was like, I'd like to put your name forward for this job to write for this TV show. And I thought, I don't know. I mean, I've never done that before. And she's like, but you've been watching a lot of horror movies. So I thought maybe you would have the understanding. And I said, well, I'll try. So I go in to be interviewed by Our House Media. That's the name of the company. And who am I being interviewed by? But Sharon Lewis. Sharon Lewis is interviewing me. And she and I had auditioned for something like a couple of years before, where she was auditioning for something that I was auditioning for. And it was like, I've seen her face for years, and I've known about her work for a really long time. So she was like, we read your spec script, your sample script, and we think you have a really great voice, and we'd love for you to take a whack at this. Do you think you can do it? And I was like, yeah, I think I can. And they're like, what's your favorite horror movie? Was their question. And I was like, oh, it's funny you would ask that, because I just spent the last 3.5 months watching every horror movie that's come out since 1912. And in a day I was hired, and I started working for Our House Media, and I wrote, I think 13 or 15 stories for them. And then I had that on my resume, which helped me. But then I also ended up winning an award for one of my scripts through, what is it called? The McGee Diversity Screenwriters Award. And then I got paired with the mentor of my choice, and the mentor that I wanted was Marsha Green. So Marsha Green and I ended up working together. I'd already idolized her in her career. And then she got to help me with my script called Dust to Dust. And a year after that, I ended up working in a writer's room with her on The Porter. And, she was the showrunner with Anne-Marie, and I was the story coordinator. And it was one of the most encouraging and most supportive rooms one could ever start in. I mean, unfortunately, it was through Zoom. I didn't get to be in a writer's room with them physically, but I was in a writer's room with all these amazing Black screenwriters from July 27th until November the 18th. And that has changed my life completely. Like, I can't even tell you all the things that have happened to me since I got hired on The Porter.
Wow. Such an amazing journey.